side with Northeast Ohio's best coverage. This is News Channel 5.
We begin with a live picture of downtown Cleveland this Christmas night. It's the calm before the storm as we gear up for the first blizzard of the season. Good evening, I'm Michael Baldwin. Chris and Danita have the night off. There is currently a blizzard warning for a large part of the viewing area, and that's going to create big problems for those of you heading home from the holidays. Cleveland Hopkins Airport tells us United Airlines is already predicting as many as 60% of its flights will be canceled. Boards are already lit up with cancellations across the country. Make sure you call ahead before you go to the airport to see if your flight's on time. They're predicting hazardous road conditions. You're looking at live pictures of the ODOT garage in Independence, where crews are already working to stay ahead of what's to come. But right now, we want to get over to Power 5 meteorologist Jason Nicholas, who's tracking in the Weather Center. Jason.
Well, Michael, here's my advice. If you have any traveling to do it early tomorrow, because by around 10 noontime tomorrow, things will really start to go downhill rather quickly. So the calm before the storm, quiet out there right now. Let's get to the maps. Power 5 live Doppler network radar. Take a look. We're already starting to see some light snow moving to southern Ohio. Look at the size of this storm. It's bringing showers, thunderstorms, severe weather, tornado watches across Alabama and Mississippi, and then heavy snow through Missouri and Arkansas, even some thunder snow in northern Arkansas. Now, the track of this storm system will take it right through the Appalachian Mountains, through West Virginia, and while we're not in the center of that track, that doesn't matter. The way these storm systems work, the heaviest snow will be on the northwest side of the center of the storm, and that puts much of the viewing area, much of northern Ohio, under the gun in that bullseye for the heavy snow, and we're going to see that beginning tomorrow morning and then lasting through tomorrow night into the overnight hours on Thursday. Okay, blizzard warning for our lakeshore communities, lakeshore counties, winter storm warning for inland counties. The bottom line is here, there isn't much of a difference. We're all going to see near whiteout, blinding conditions, heavy amounts of snow. We're talking at least 6 inches, maybe more, possibly up to a foot across some spots. We're going to break down what communities will get hit the hardest from this winter storm and also let you know how long it'll last and if there's any more winter weather in our 7-day forecast coming up in a bit. Michael.
All right, Jason, thank you. As ODOT gears up and gets ready for the blizzard coming our way, so do the rest of us. Folks, we're out getting necessary supplies so they are not left out in the cold. We're going to get right over to Kristen Volk, who is live in an ODOT garage in Independence. Kristen.
Hey, Michael, there are so many more people out today than normal on this holiday, all prepping for tomorrow's storm. That includes ODOT crews. They got out here about 45 minutes ago, starting to hit the roadways, salt the roadways. They're going to be working through tonight and tomorrow. Meanwhile, others were out early this evening trying to beat that rush and pick up last-minute provisions before the snowfall hits tomorrow.
Brian Patterson says he's never planned ahead for a storm until today.
I'm ready to go. I don't have to worry about it tomorrow.
Patterson bought 3 bags of rock salt at this discount drug mart on East 200th, one of the few stores open on Christmas. Jan Jones stopped by to stock up on snacks and milk.
I decided to get what we needed and go home.
The Power of 5 predicts up to a foot of snow to blanket the Cleveland area tomorrow. Forecasts of blizzard-like conditions and 35-mile-an-hour wind gusts are making this store a popular pit stop today.
Here you go. Thank you. Merry Christmas. It's been busy. Everybody's buying last-minute things and lots of snow brushes, rock salt, food.
Which has left these shelves nearly bare. And store clerk Maria Klun working overtime, but she doesn't mind.
Everybody's just in a good mood. You know, lots of parties and having fun.
Antoine Moore can't hide his excitement, and it has nothing to do with the holiday.
Snow is green.
Moore plows snow, and this upcoming storm could be a major moneymaker for him.
We got milk, pop, and I have cereal for breakfast.
But plenty of others, like Shannon Trent, will be spending money to be prepared. Trent says he's buying enough food to last at least a couple of days.
We still have a few things at home we could, salvage, so we're good to go.
And staying home for the first major snowfall of the season.
The city of Cleveland says its drivers will start pre-treating hills and bridges early tomorrow morning. Then they're going to start clearing residential or primary streets first, residential streets after that. Now, if you must venture out tomorrow, you might want to keep some things in your car just in case it gets bad. This is what I have in my car: a blanket, a shovel, a snowsuit, and some bottled water. But we're going to think best case scenario instead of worst case scenario, and hope for just a little snowfall, not a lot. Live in Independence, I'm Kristen Volk, News Channel 5.
Kristen, good advice. Thank you very much for that report. The storm is creating havoc across the country. Some southern states have seen tornadoes. For others, it's blizzard conditions. ABC's Mark Greenblatt has our story.
In Oklahoma, a massive Christmas morning crash closed down all holiday traffic heading west on Interstate 40. 21 vehicles piled up, one on top of the next, and blizzard conditions blanketed much of the Midwest and beyond. Snowplows even had to clear roads as far south as Lubbock, Texas. Bad news for the increasing number of people taking to the roads this week.
It's actually the most people traveling for the holiday in 6 years.
In Maryland, black ice froze traffic overnight, stranding holiday drivers there. One wife got a stuck car moving and wouldn't risk stopping again even to let her husband back in the car. Others couldn't get moving again.
I had to stop, and when I did, it was just as far as I went.
Hundreds of flights were grounded in Northern California, where severe weather is hitting San Francisco hard.
I found out my flight had been canceled after 4 hours of waiting in the airport.
And the storms are only expected to increase in strength as they sweep across the nation, delivering another heavy blow to the Midwest tomorrow and 10 inches of snow to some parts of Arkansas.
Northern Ohio, western New York State, heavy snow over a foot, blizzard conditions here, winds whipping over 40 miles per hour.
Meaning traveling home in the coming days could become even more treacherous.
And the National Weather Service says that some of those storms that are ramping up right now will make travel, quote, very hazardous or even impossible in the coming hours or days. Meaning that if you're in their path, probably best to just stay inside and enjoy those new Christmas toys. Mark Greenblatt, ABC News, New York.
Protect yourself and your family. Sign up for our Storm Shield app. It alerts you when severe weather is headed to our area. It's only $4.99, and you can find it in the App Store. And remember, Good Morning Cleveland starts bright and early at 4:30 a.m. with the latest weather updates. It's an extra special holiday for parishioners at Cleveland St. Casimir Church. It was their first Christmas service at their church in 4 years. St. Casimir recently reopened after being shut down by the Catholic Diocese. News Channel 5's Shay Harris was there.
Little Danny Flejar was only 3 when the Cleveland Catholic Diocese closed St. Casimir Parish.
He kept asking his father as we stood outside the closed church in the cold. He says, "Dad, why can't we go in?"
He asked me those many questions when there was no answer for it. Because, you know, as a Catholic, I cannot tell him, you know, bad things.
Little Danny didn't understand why parishioners had to stand out in the cold to pray. Now he's almost 7. And he's playing a major role in this year's Christmas service.
Today, Danny's going to be the altar boy here, and he's going to be inside the church. So it was a tough situation, but we didn't give up the hope. We kept writing, we kept working with the other 10 churches.
Last March, the Vatican overruled the Cleveland Diocese and ordered the closed churches to be reopened. It took months, but they're open now. For that, the church is thankful.
It's amazing. I mean, I can find the words to tell you how I'm feeling and how other people feels like to be here.
Today, parishioners are back inside where their mothers and fathers worshiped many Christmases ago.
This is the celebration of the birth of Christ and the rebirth of all our churches. And it's just a wonderful feeling to be able to walk into this church again from 4 years ago when it was closed, and to be able to worship here again, where my family, my mother was a member of this church, and I'm a third-generation person at this church.
On your side, Shay Harris, News Channel 5.
St. Casimir is hosting a big New Year's Eve celebration at the church. They're opening their doors to the public for the service. Up next, words of a killer, the shocking suicide note left behind by the gunman who abused a couple of volunteer firefighters. Plus, remembering Newtown, the touching ways our nation honored the victims this holiday.
And a very powerful winter storm is setting its sights on northern Ohio. I'm going to break down how much snow you can expect, when it'll start, when it'll end, all that coming up.
The victims of the Connecticut school shooting were remembered at Christmas Mass in downtown Cleveland this afternoon. Parishioners gathered at St. John Cathedral to reflect on the true meaning of Christmas. The pastor preached the importance of faith in all areas of life, not just while at church. During the Mass, the congregation prayed for all victims of tragedy. Police officers from all over spent their Christmas in Newtown so that those officers could have the holiday off. The visiting officers each did 4 shifts so the officers who witnessed the unthinkable at Sandy Hook Elementary could be with their families. The youngest victims of the Newtown tragedy are being remembered at Washington National Cathedral. 20 angels adorn the altar inside the children's chapel, one for each of the children who died. We'll learn new details tonight about the gunman behind the Christmas Eve attack that left 2 firefighters dead and 3 other first responders fighting for their lives. ABC's Aaron Kartursky has our story.
The trap that killed 2 firefighters and injured 3 other first responders was set by this man, convicted felon William Spengler. He may also have killed his sister. Police discovered human remains in the burnt-out home they shared. At the scene, police found a chilling note, read in part by Webster, New York Police Chief Gerald Pickering.
I still have to get ready to see how much of the neighborhood I can burn down and do what I like doing best, killing people. End quote.
The chief says the note makes clear Spengler's intent, but his motive for murdering volunteer firefighters Mike Ciparini and Tomas Kachuka and setting several homes on fire is still unknown. What is known is the 62-year-old had served 17 years in prison for killing his grandmother with a hammer. It's illegal for convicted felons to own guns, but Spengler had 3 weapons in his arsenal, including a Bushmaster semi-automatic rifle, a weapon similar to the one used in the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre.
Spengler had armed himself heavily and immediately started firing upon first responders. Essentially, it was a combat condition. They were shooting at muzzle flash.
The 2 most seriously injured firefighters, John Hofstetter and Theodore Scardino, remain in intensive care, though in stable condition. John Ritter, the officer who was the first to engage the gunman, was treated and released.
They'll get through it. Very soon.
The community gathered together at the Webster Fire Station to show support and pay respects.
These guys are everybody's heroes. You know, when that alarm sounds, they all go. It could be you, it could be me.
Aaron Katursky, ABC News, New York.
It was a great holiday for hundreds of Cleveland families in need, thanks to the kindness of volunteers. Dozens spent hours this morning cooking up a storm at St. Augustine Church in Tremont. Hundreds were treated to a hot dinner of ham with all the fixins. And the volunteers packed up more food and hit the road, delivering meals to the elderly and the handicapped. That was certainly a nice story there. Another interesting story coming up, and of course we're talking about the weather tomorrow. We're going to get hit pretty good tomorrow.
Yeah, we don't like to hype things up unless we have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen, and I can say we can sound the alarm for tomorrow. This I'm trying to find ways where we might, skip out on some of the snow, and it looks like right now the latest forecast models, the latest data really brings that bullseye into areas of our viewing areas.
So this is not a joke, folks.
This is not a joke. Yeah, and the thing is be smart about it. If you have anything to do tomorrow, try to get it done early in the day. If you need to run any errands, maybe fill your car up with gas. We had great tips earlier in the newscast. So because once we hit noontime, things are really going to go downhill, and they're going to go down quickly because the snow's not going to let up. So road crews won't be able to keep up with all the snow. That's the bottom line. So again, use common sense tomorrow. We live in northern Ohio. We know how to deal with a snowstorm, but this one is going to be particularly dangerous and tough for us. Okay, right now to our south and west, you notice this is the storm. Already starting to have some light snow, northern sections of Kentucky. Severe weather, believe it or not, across the Gulf Coast. This is a huge storm. And then heavy snow through northern Arkansas and also southern sections of Missouri. In fact, some reports there of some thunder snow, indicating very intense snowfall there across northern Arkansas. Okay, now the track on this storm will take it through the Appalachian Mountains, through West Virginia, the Ohio River Valley. And as I mentioned earlier, normally when we talk about where the heavy snow goes in relationship to where the center of the storm is, we look north and west about 150 miles or so, and that's where you normally get your heavy band of snow. And we'll talk about here in a moment where that heavy band is likely to set up tomorrow. But everyone is going to get a good dose of snow, half a foot, I think, for everyone in the News Channel 5 viewing area by tomorrow night. Winter storm warning in white, blizzard warning in red. There's not a big difference here. Blizzard warning, all that says is that the visibility goes down very small for 3 hours, and we have winds at about 35 miles per hour. Not much about snow. So more snow here, but the blowing here, again, it's not going to be great anywhere you go during the day tomorrow. But don't necessarily think because of a blizzard warning the conditions will be worse than in the winter storm warning. It's going to be rough for everyone. Okay, snow begins tomorrow morning, lasts through tomorrow night. When it's all said and done, I think throughout the area, 8 to 12 inches and wind gusts up to 35 miles per hour. That's going to cause blowing and drifting snow. So if road crews, by chance, plow a road, wind could then throw some snow right back on top of their work. So that's the problem with blowing and drifting snow. As we head through the overnight, it is going to be quiet. In fact, tomorrow morning's rush, I think, is going to be okay. Unless you're across US 30, Canton, Worcester, you'll start to see some snow around 8 o'clock. I think 10 o'clock or so into greater Cleveland, and then by noon, 1 o'clock, everyone getting hit with the moderate to heavy snow. Notice there, Youngstown to Canton, some heavy snow. That heavy snow band then north. This is drive home time, supper time. So notice 7-8 hours here of pretty good snows. Then finally by midnight tomorrow, we do start to see things wind down a bit. It looks like by Thursday morning, this is a cleanup operation. Okay, here's